and welcome to another episode of Swing State Update. My name's Tyler Boyer, and I'm joined today by a stand-in, wonderful replacement for State Representative Austin Smith and Aubrey Savela.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Aubrey's
I'm excited to be here.
Aubrey's a rock star who is part of our Arizona team here at Turning Point Action. So even though she's not in the state legislature, she has monumental impact because she is specifically over the very important area of Ahwatukee, Chandler, and specifically that territory. So LD12 and parts of 13, which are really at the heartbeat of flipping the state of Arizona. So
yes, LD13 is critical. It's a battleground district.
Yeah, so we're excited to have you with us today as we talk. And in honor of Austin, we want to start it off by kicking off with a clip that Austin was a part of that went kind of semi-viral this week. Let's go ahead and jump into clip one.
Well, Michael Crow is more than welcome to run for office and sit here and debate these topics with us rather than sitting in his ivory tower charging students thousands of dollars for a worthless degree for underwater lesbian basket weaving that provides nothing to the future of this country and the stability of us taking on countries like China. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I vote for Austin.
And I yield my time. So the gentleman from Surprise lit up Michael Crow, Dr. Michael Crow. Obviously, if you've been listening to the show, I'm following in Arizona. There's been this ongoing saga that's existed between Arizona State University and Turning Point after they try to cancel Charlie and the wonderful Jewish leader in the country, Dennis Prager. And Austin actually had a really long diatribe. That was actually the one that got the most headlines about lesbian underwater basket weaving. But he had hit them hard on, look, it's just not a safe place for conservatives to be. And, you've got attacks on conservatives' heads. And ASU sucks, and the university system sucks. It's not just in Arizona; it's across the country. So, anyways, we're proud of Austin. We miss him today, but he's out doing great stuff like that right now, working the legislature, working hard, and then spending the remainder of his time this weekend hunting. So we couldn't be more proud to have him as a leader. Doing the Lord's work. Targeting Democrats and then going out and hunting for his family. So. With that, we got a big show today. Want to talk about a couple of different topics. Number one, we'll get into the Americans for Prosperity, the Koch network's endorsement of the unlikely Nikki Haley. Want to talk today about Georgia redistricting. We actually were scheduled to have Courtney from our team in Georgia on, but her delay was too long, so we actually had to kick her off the show today. But we'll talk a little about redistricting, bring that up, talk a little bit about what redistricting means, and this is why conservatives have to keep an eye on the ball with this stuff. Third, we'll talk a little bit about single-issue voters and ballot chasing. We talked a little bit about that on Charlie and Jack's show on Thought Crime this week. So this will be interesting if you listened to that last night. And then lastly, we'll talk about some updates that are happening at the RNC and in Arizona with the Green Party updates and across the country. So let's kick this thing off. I think first we have that memo on the Nikki Haley endorsement. Do we have that? Can we pull that up real quickly? I don't know if we have a screen grab of it. Producer Sadie, I don't know if you got that in the... Oh, we've got clip two. Let's just go to clip 2 with Nikki Haley talking about the AFP endorsement. She's so proud.
I know there's no coordination, but can that organization provide some ground game for you here in New Hampshire?
It's a great endorsement. It's the largest conservative grassroots network in the country, and I love it for 2 reasons. One, because of the policy that they share. They really focus on freedom, and in a time where we need to get away from socialism and focus on limited government, we agree on that. And secondly, because this is millions of people who are getting out to vote that just want to make sure that we get our country back on track. So to have, their feet on the ground and have that grassroots network of Americans wanting to fight.
In our interview, Haley also brushed off recent attacks from Ron DeSantis. When we interviewed him, he said, you represent the establishment and he's the one who can deliver conservative change.
You know, it's interesting. I was the Tea Party candidate when I ran for governor. I've been strong on foreign policy. There's nothing establishment about me. There's nothing establishment about my life. But that's what a candidate says when they're losing.
Wow. So Donald Trump is losing while she's...
I just want to know 5 things that AFP is doing to benefit the grassroots, because based off what she said, it sounds like they're doing all the work that Turning Point Action is doing.
She said it's the largest grassroots
Yeah, the largest
organization.
conservative grassroots organization in the nation. What have they accomplished this year?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen an AFP. So I'll just give you a quick history because I love this history. Here in Arizona, like every single competitive race that Americans for Prosperity, and again, for those of you, the listeners at home, Americans for Prosperity is the Koch network. So the Koch network came in 10 years ago telling everybody they're super libertarian, and they became best friends with John McCain, the best friends with the Bushes, and the best friends with all the establishment hacks, right? And so you've got AFP that operates allegedly in all 50 states. I don't think they even have staffers in Arizona anymore. They might have one staffer. I don't know. They don't even really have staffers anywhere. And Arizona is one of the key target states. So if they don't have staffers here, do you think they have staffers in Vermont?
No, they're probably in like
in Alaska,
California, Florida.
No. Yeah, they have a couple maybe in California, a couple in Kansas. This is like the biggest lie ever told. Nobody cares about AFP anymore. No one trusts the Kochs. No one trusts anything that they say. And here's the proof in the pudding. They endorsed every competitive race in Arizona for state legislature last election cycle. Every person they endorsed lost against every Turning Point Action endorsement, which was, we supported all the conservatives.
Yes.
We supported every conservative. So Rusty Bowers was the failed Speaker of the House in Arizona, was running for state Senate. AFP came out, we support Rusty Bowers.
We'll give you money.
And they gave him support and money. And he got trounced 65-35 in Arizona. And we endorsed
That's
his
bad.
opponent, David Farnsworth, and helped David Farnsworth and did all that. So conservatives are winning. And groups like AFP, who they're becoming more and more transparent about who they are, because endorsing Nikki Haley, I mean, like, can you believe that?
Yeah, she was like, I'm a conservative. Whoever's running against me is not.
Like, what is she talking?
But you're endorsed by AFP?
No, she was saying, like, Donald Trump's losing. It's
Yeah.
like, bro.
Her opponents are losing because they're not endorsed by AFP.
You know, she was saying, like, that sounds like talking points from a losing campaign. Donald Trump is winning by like 50 points against the next highest person, which is Ron DeSantis. She's in 3rd place in some states. She's in like 5th place in other states. Like, this is crazy. She might come in 3rd place in South Carolina. Like, she might come in place
bad.
like where she was governor. Like, she's probably gonna come in 2nd, but like, geez, man, like
Someone's
you
rubbing her
suck.
back and boosting her ego.
She sucks. She's terrible. Anyway, so that's pretty embarrassing. But yeah, AFP, if you don't know, if you're not tracking, there's only a few organizations that actually do anything. And AFP, Americans for Prosperity, they play this whole game of like, oh, we're out for lower taxes and da-da-da-da. But meanwhile, they're like endorsing like all the big government guys. So Robin Voss, I'm sure, is like a big AFP support. Base in Wisconsin, sucks. Rusty Bowers, who we took out, big AFP boost, sucks. I'm sure that guy in Texas, who's that guy that was the drunk guy that was Speaker of the House?
Oh,
I bet he loves AFP.
he has like an eye patch.
It's these guys that are all, no, not Dan
Oh,
Crenshaw.
sorry, I thought you were talking about the guy that spoke. He was also drunk when
But also
I
Dan-
saw him spoke.
Oh, Dan Crenshaw was drunk?
Yes.
That's news.
From Texas. Well, I saw him
he's-
in Texas.
Oh, Texas. It's Texas, right? Like, you're allowed
The
to
big
drink in
state.
Texas. Yeah. Wisconsin and Texas, I mean, you can't blame people for drinking. So that's where we're at. Nikki Haley endorsed by AFP. You now know where AFP stands. They hate you, right? If they're supporting Nikki Haley, they hate you. That's simple as it comes. It's the Chamber of Commerce, Chamber of Consultants, guys. So that's where we're at. Let's move on to redistricting. So can we pull up a screenshot of this redistricting issue happening in Atlanta? This is crazy. So I'll kind of give background again. So this is the problem, guys. We've talked about this early on in Swing State Update history here. In Arizona, Georgia, Wisconsin, this is so important. the lines that were drawn for the was it decennial? Is that what they call it? Every 10 years? Every 10 years that they draw the lines. This is what usually determines who runs the state, congressionally and legislatively. So at the state house level, for state senate, for state legislature, that's who makes the laws that you have to live by in your state. There you go. And then the second is congressional lines. So obviously the Democrats lost the House, right? So they lost the House. Kevin McCarthy becomes the short-term Speaker of the House. We now have a new Speaker of the House. But some of these states that were run by Republicans had really great lines drawn. So now you have a situation where Democrats are going back and they're going, oh my gosh, we need to try to challenge these in the courts. And how do they challenge them? Well, they claim that it's breaking federal election law by with the DOJ, and the DOJ comes in and investigates because there's not enough black communities represented within the districts, or there's not enough Hispanic communities representative in the district, or not enough Native Americans represented. Here in Arizona, that's a question because there's a lot of Native Americans. And so they call those majority-minority districts. When you have that, they try to create them. And so this has been on the docket for them to challenge Georgia. And so now they're trying to create 2 more additional black majority voting districts, which the Republicans have.
And the Fulton counties in the Atlanta suburbs.
Yeah, well, this could change everything on the congressional side, and it's probably not going to change much on the legislative side for Georgia, but congressional side. And again, the big picture item here, which is you have to focus on, and this is the same for Arizona. They're pissed about Arizona. They're pissed about Georgia, the Democrats were, because Republicans picked up 2 more House seats. In Georgia, Republicans just control the congressional delegation. Well, why does this matter? Well, because if they can get a couple more competitive races or a couple more Democrat, couple point advantages, well, then donors flood the zone with money, right? So why does that matter for Georgia? Well, because if you get more money in for Senate races and congressional races and gubernatorial races and whatever, that helps give you a better chance to win the presidential race, right? Because Joe Biden's not raising money. He's not out campaigning, right? He's just not. Like, nobody likes him. So this is why this is so important. And in Arizona, this is why every race matters. It's not just congressional races. County races matter. Maricopa County only has 5 seats. The seats for Maricopa County, there's 5 seats for the supervisor races. And nobody's thinking about this. No one talks about this. There's 5 seats. Each race is bigger than a congressional race. It's bigger than a congressional district. It's 1 million plus people in each of those districts. So you're talking about a lot of money that can flood the zone for a supervisor race, for a congressional race. And if Democrats can stack all that money up, that drives out more Democrats, that allows them to chase more ballots and gives them a better shot at winning the presidency.
And school board races.
Yeah, and
important. Local races.
Well, this is what Democrats have done really well, right?
Yep. I know in Arizona, in Queen Creek, they have a full Democrat board, but Queen Creek's supposed to be the most conservative area. Yeah,
so Queen Creek, that's a great example. So Democrats do 2 things. They flood the zone with money, right? So they get as much money as they can in for all these top of ticket races, right? So get a good candidate in that can run and win in Georgia for Senate, that can run and win for Congress, that can run and win for these supervisor races, which are big, like in Fulton County and Maricopa. But then you have congressional races, and they're recruiting candidates for every single one of these races. And sometimes Republicans and conservatives are asleep at the wheel, and they don't recruit somebody. So what happens?
The Democrats win. Democrats
they
get the seat.
Well, they sometimes get it automatically, but they attract more Democrats because their friends show up and vote for their friends.
Yep.
At the local level. And then all this money's coming in and attacking Republicans at the top. This is how you're losing Arizona. This is how you're losing Georgia.
It's not from the top down. It's from the bottom up.
It's a lot of it's bottom up. Yeah, for sure. And that's happening at the congressional races too. It's like they're carrying the presidential through all that, which is crazy. It's like crazy to think about. Like that's what's the difference maker. And meanwhile, we have Republicans, that aren't funding Republicans because they don't like Donald Trump or whatever. Like it's like stupid stuff. let's pull up the poll showing single issue voters. So on that same topic, this is a great transition. So this is crazy. This just came out. This is on the Meet the Press blog. So the only people watching this are Democrats, because the only people that watch Meet the Press are Democrats. The only people that would read NBC News are Democrats. So they're like excited about this. So they put this out there. 1 in 4 Democrats are single issue voters on abortion.
That's interesting. That's a lot. That's actually interesting.
That's all they care about.
Yeah.
1 in 4 Democrats. So if you're in a room with 4 Democrats, only one of those 4, all they care about, all they'll vote on is abortion. That's it.
I feel like a lot of it is girls that are Democrat that are my age. So girls that are like those.
Taylor Swift told me to vote for abortion.
Yeah, that's exactly. Taylor Swift said it's cool, so therefore I'm going to do it.
Swifties told me to murder babies.
Therefore I'm a murderer. Taylor Swift broke up with the baby, so did I.
So this is what's crazy about this. And we talked about this last week a little bit, and again, I want to make this concrete. I want this to stabilize in the brains of everyone who's listening. So Democrats are not chasing high propensity ballots. Okay. They're just not. So they're not going after 4 of 4 swing voter, sometimes Republican, sometimes Democrat. They're honestly just like, F those guys. Like, they're way too hard to try to convince. Like, I'm not going to try to convince somebody that sometimes votes for Democrats, sometimes votes for Republicans. They're going for people who are low propensity, not likely to vote. And how do they know? Because the data that exists, that's publicly accessible data exists, tells them in real time whether or not Aubrey voted, right? Whether or not Aubrey's friends voted, whether or not Aubrey's family voted, whether or not everyone on Aubrey's street voted, right? So if Aubrey's on my team, I can go to Aubrey Street because I know where Aubrey lives, right? It's public. Yep. When you register to vote, did you know this?
Yes, I know.
Everybody knows where you live.
Everybody knows where I live now.
Everyone knows where you live.
Scary.
It's just part of how it works. It's public. Democrats love that. And so now I can go to Aubrey Street, and as long as I know Aubrey, kinda, and I know Aubrey's politics, I can go next door to Aubrey's neighbor and be like, yo, Aubrey told me to come talk to you because she said that you like abortion, or you like, in our case would be like babies, right? This is how they're doing it because they're using relationships. They're not even talking about it. So now if they know, hey, 1 out of 4 times, all people care about is abortion, like killing babies on their side, all they have to do is go knock on their door and be like, hey.
Do you want to protect your right?
Well, they don't even say that in a lot of cases. A lot of times they go, hey, your neighbor told me to come pick up your ballot, help you vote. And if they're like, yeah, I don't really want to vote. And you're like, no, it's important. And they'll be like, why? Like, well, do you like killing babies? Yeah, that's what they do, right? They're like, of course I love killing babies. And then they go and then they help them vote. They're like, oh, well, you have to vote to kill babies. And then they're like, great, this is great.
Right.
This is wonderful for their side, right? So because they know this, right? Or they talk about taking away your rights, right? Exactly.
That's exactly what they were doing. I was just at the public library looking at the books that they had, and they were like, will you sign this bill so you can protect your reproductive rights? And I was like, no, I'm not going to vote on that.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, Arizona already has a 15-week abortion rule. Why would I vote to kill babies up to the day they're born?
Yeah.
But they brought it like, do you care about your reproductive rights? Do you care about being a woman?
How they pose it is like, yeah, you aren't a woman unless you want to kill babies.
That's exactly what it is.
Because your right to kill babies is taken away from you, which is crazy. But this is how everything works. And the point that you brought up is the same point that Charlie brought up on the show last night on Thought Crime, which is, yo, anytime, people don't like to hear that their rights are being taken away, right?
No, yep.
This is why gun stuff works so well for us, right? It's the same thing for us. Did you know Democrats want to take away your guns?
And then it's like, no, I don't want them to take away my guns.
It's like, boom, okay, them. Can you help out? So we just discovered the single issue on our side. It may not be 1 in 4. It's probably more like 1 in 10, 1 in 8. Mm-hmm. But it's a banger, right? We should use that one. We should. Yes. And this is why NRA has been so successful.
I love how they always use abortion to bring voters in when abortion has nothing to do with a political candidate, but it's a Supreme Court topic.
They don't care.
and issue.
Yeah, they don't care.
Nobody knows that because they use it so politically.
And we should do the same thing. It's like, dude, do you want your taxes to go up? Right? Like, we don't do it enough. I mean, or it's just stuff that people don't care about.
Yeah.
For our side, we've got to like zero in on those same things. But these are single issues that help chase ballots. So again, I want to make this very clear. Democrats are they've abandoned people who vote. They do not care about you if you voted. So if you have friends and family that are like, I vote all the time, but I'm an independent, they don't care about you. Like, of course they want your vote, but they don't care. They're not going to spend money on you. What they're doing is they're putting bodies out in the field, knocking on doors because they know 1 in 4 are going to listen to their story about friendship and abortion. And they're like, I'm going to get 1 out of every 4 ballots. Well, guess what? If there's 1 million ballots that are outstanding that they're targeting in Pennsylvania, how many are they going to pull down with that? At least 250,000. Well, guys, that's like the difference in every election in Pennsylvania, right? Like, that's the difference. That's the difference that wins you every single state every time, just going for abortion. Now, forget them like zeroing in on other issues, right? They can zero in on all this stuff. This is the same thing that they're doing with transing kids.
Yep.
Right? They know the psychopaths that are the 2% of Democrats that want to trans kids, right? And guess what? They're going to their door and they'll be like, hey, do you care about transing kids? And they're like, yeah, heck yeah.
Do you care about accepting others?
Yeah.
Do you want your rights to be protected as a transgender?
Do you want to Republicans want to take away your rights to trans your kids. And like, they're like, F that. And they identify those people. Guess what? You just got 2% that usually doesn't vote because they think everyone's against trans and kids because they're able to go to the door and talk them into it. And we have the same thing on our side. Like, pro-life people are super hardcore. You know how many pro-life people don't vote? You know how many gun owners don't vote?
There's a lot.
Like, gun ownership probably, again, is like probably like a 1 in 8 probably care about that as their single issue vote. Pro-life is probably similar, I would guess. Probably like 1 in 8, 1 in 10 is like but God, that's still a really good number. Like, if I could get 1 out of every 10 people to vote just based off those two things, like, we would turn out a lot more votes, but we just don't even do it. And that's going to change this year with the stuff that we're doing.
Yeah, we have some exciting things.
So that's kind of fun. So Aubrey, so we have this next story is, we just talked about this. We have some exciting news that's coming up. Turning Point Action is going to be doing a lot to help get resources and help and love and support to the local leadership, our conservative leaders and Republican leaders across states, the states that matter. I don't know if we saw this. Let's throw up this graphic. It says donations to GOP drop as worries mount about the party's finances. And so I'm going to give you a little bit of inside baseball right now about what's going on. As a member of the RNC, this has been a concern from the very beginning. The RNC did not start with very much money, started this cycle. And one of the things that we warned about with Rana deciding to run again was like, hey, so many donors are saying they're done. Like, they're not going to give to the RNC. Why would they give to the RNC? We keep losing over and over and over again. And by the way, we just lost another big race, this last election cycle between Virginia and the Supreme Court race. But again, this article headline says, and this is, I think this was, Sadie, where was this? This was in, I think this was Washington Post.
Yeah, the Washington Post.
This is not like a little thing here. This is like a headline that we have less money in the bank than we've had since pre-Trump getting elected.
That's embarrassing.
It's really scary.
That is scary.
So the Republican Party, the National Republican Party, is dwindling. I'm aware, according to, what I've been told, there's about a month's worth, max 2 of what they're spending that's in the bank right now. That's bad. And by the way, meanwhile, they're putting on these debates, which is like, they can't pay for them themselves. So they're trying to get all these other partners to do them. So that's the reason why they have NBC doing them. They have CNN partnering with them and stuff like that. It's crazy stuff.
They've also been, I've gotten 4 emails from them in the past week being like, do you want your local leaders to win? Do you want this person to be president? Donate $5 to Rana. Donate $5. And I know other people have gotten them too. And it's
their
like,
debates are so boring.
Yes, they're so bad. Like, Nobody watches them. They don't invite President Trump. They don't invite anybody that the people want to see.
Oh, it's just Chris Christie. Like, no one needs to see that.
It's just everybody making fun of Chris Christie for
By the way,
3 hours.
You can't even find like Chris Christie's campaign information. Like we've tried to like, I mean, we want to invite everybody to like AmericaFest and stuff like that, even though like we know like Chris Christie's not going to show up. I mean, he might. We have like buffets and stuff like that, but like
we might have a butter cow imported from Iowa.
Butter cow.
Spends all of his campaign money at Krispy Kreme.
Well, so everyone was like, "Hey, maybe we should send this invite," because there's no way to get in touch with this campaign. Like you can't even like, even if you wanted to invite him, who knows how many things he's missed in his campaign because he doesn't even have like a functioning website. But like,
God.
We're like, so who do we send this invite to if we want to invite him to AmericaFest? And somebody was like, oh, he's from Mendham, New Jersey. Send it to the Dunkin' Donuts in Mendham.
Get a box of donuts. I Heart America, please come
No, I bet
to
the
AMFEST.
manager at Dunkin' Donuts knows where to find him, or that he's in there at least once a day.
Yeah, maybe even twice. A morning trip, an afternoon trip.
It's probable. It's likely. But anyways, enough about Chris Christie and how much he sucks. But this is a real serious thing, and this is the reason why like everybody was saying like you got to build infrastructure outside the RNC. Donations, I actually don't think it's the worst thing in the world for things to dry up. If bad leadership exists or, there's things not happening at the RNC that people believe should be happening, it should dry up. But, the RNC really should just be doing perfunctory stuff. They should be doing debates really well. They're not doing that really well. They should be doing the convention really well. Well, right now there's only $5 million in the bank for the convention. It takes like, it shouldn't take this much money, but it takes like $50+ million to have a successful convention. She's got 6 months to raise that money. Is it likely she's going to raise that money? I don't think so. I mean, it's not that she's not on track to, for sure.
Well, if you're not talking to the grassroots, you're not going to get the small donations that make to the big donations.
Well, and a lot of the grassroots are who become the delegates to the RNC convention.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're going to have a very grassroots convention this year. I think a lot of Trump supporters are the grassroots. And I think they're going to be pretty pissed. I'm automatically a delegate because I'm on the RNC, but people should be upset rightfully. And if things don't go, I think they're walking themselves right into a railroad spike because, I tried to warn some of these guys about it, but they just didn't listen, which is they got all these grassroots people from all over. They hate Rana. Like here in Arizona, I took like 10 polls. And I think out of all the polls, I got one person that told me to vote for Rana. 99.999% were like, do not go there. Do not, it's like that meme that we have of we should splice into it. It's like, do not come. I'm gonna come. But like they're just like, no, do not even think about voting for her. And so like obviously I can't do that. It's like all our people. Like I would never vote for Rana. And by the way, I've been one of the people that has been like most critical because I show up to the RNC meetings, they don't do anything. But this is where we're at, is that if we don't get resources into Arizona, Wisconsin, and Georgia, and it's the responsibility of the Republican National Committee to make sure that that's happening, we lose, like people, we could lose the country for good.
Yeah, like we're done. She needs to step up and do her job.
The Democrats want to throw us all in jail. Like they don't want, they are not going to mess around anymore. They're not messing around. And if they get seize control of majority of this country, we're going to have to retreat to red states and hope for protection. But like, once they get control of Arizona and Georgia, their next big task is they're going to take out Texas vis-a-vis Houston and Austin. And like, that's a scary freaking thing. I mean, Dallas.
If they can get control of all the border states, they can get control of basically the whole...
Forever.
Yeah, they can control the whole country because...
Forever. If they get like ranked choice voting in and everything else in some of these red states, it's done. Mm-hmm. We're toast. So...
Ronna needs to stop spending money on plastic surgery and do her job.
Well, you said it, not me. I mean, there's nothing wrong with plastic surgery if you absolutely need it. I think it's weird. I'm going to say something that's probably going to get me in trouble, so I probably shouldn't say it. But I'm going to say my wife said this to me. So my wife said this to me, which is like, you always know like women are going through stuff when they like dramatically change their hair color like overnight, like without telling anybody, without like...
That's exactly
pulling it or asking it. it is much worse. Okay, that's like something I like, oh, okay.
I did
but
have a teacher that one time told me, she said, I will never forget this. I think about this every day. She said, if the barn needs painting, paint it. And I will never forget that because that's like the best saying.
Look, but some people are going through some stuff that like dramatically do that without like talking to their friends or whatever. But like, I think it's even worse when people like do dramatic like plastic surgery to themselves.
And they look like a whole different
and we're
person.
they look like a whole different person. You're supposed to just sit here and just be like, oh, you know, and like the awkward part is like people aren't like, it's not like these things with her. It's like where you've lost weight. It's like, oh, you look good. You've lost weight. Like, and I think she even told people she like did it. There's no way. She's like, there's no way. It's like either you got your stomach stapled or you went on like triple Ozempic or whatever. I don't care. But like, if you think I'm going to sit here and like, just like be like, this is normal, like it's not normal. Like you're doing stuff. And like, why would you want to be like in the public eye in the midst of doing all this stuff? It's crazy.
Yeah. Drop the hacks.
I for me, it's just like, to be real, I've seen it. I don't care. Like I live 5 minutes from Scottsdale, right? Like I've grown up my whole life seeing lots of plastic surgery. Like we live in the Southwest, where like LA, Scottsdale, like this happens, right? I don't care. I don't care about that at all. But like for all these people that are from like all these other states, like these deep red states where people do not like.
And then you stand out and look this different, then people notice. But Arizona's like everybody has it.
People, I don't care. But like all these people, it's like, it's crazy to me that it's just like, they're just like, because I watch the awkwardness at some of these RNC meetings. And even people who like voted for Ronna and tell her they're her friends, I've seen them be so nasty to her about that stuff. And it's like, wow, this is crazy. Okay, last update, and then we're going to wrap. We'll talk a little about America Fest coming up here and the excitement that exists. And Aubrey's going to be there, so you can come meet Aubrey. The
coolest girl.
in real life, and other people in real life. We have Tim Cass. We'll talk about in just a second. But this is the update from last week. We talked about all of the parties that are filing in these different states. So the ones that matter most are Arizona, Wisconsin, Georgia, Pennsylvania, Nevada, and Michigan, right? And some of these states is really tough to get on the ballot. So Pennsylvania is like impossible because they have so many voters. But Arizona, it's getting tougher because we have so many people. But the Green Party came out and was like, yeah, we're going to get on the ballot. Yeah, we're going to get on the ballot. And everyone's like, oh, okay, yeah, we'll see. Well, it got dropped this last week. Green Party of Arizona just turned in signatures in an attempt to again become a recognized political party. They estimate they got 63,000 signatures, which is almost 30,000 more than they actually needed. So almost twice as many as they needed.
Wow.
So the Green Party is hitting the ballot.
All the environmentalists coming out.
This is what screwed Hillary Clinton in 2016.
Yep.
So Jill Stein is going to be the nominee again. So Democrats are now so furious because they've got, it's Donald Trump versus Joe Biden, RFK Jr., it's looking more and more like the polling that there is more Democrats supporting RFK than Republicans.
I think RFK is going to get the older generation Democrats votes because they all...
He's going to get older Democrats and some older Republicans that don't like Trump. There was a poll that just came out this week in Arizona that said that Trump's largest percentage of support is with young people.
It is, yep. It's like my people that love Trump.
Yeah, which means we're doing our job, right?
We're doing great.
You're doing your job out there.
People are listening.
Turning Point's doing its job and turning the party more conservative. But yeah, so RFK is going to pull probably slightly more Democrats, I think. They're going to pull Republicans, but slightly the Republicans we don't care about. And then you have now no labels. Again, we talked about last week, which they're really ticked off because like if somebody jumps in as no labels, like the lame duck senator from West Virginia, or somebody else jumps in, maybe Kirsten Sinema. Somebody jumps in as a presidential candidate for no labels, that's going to hack away almost exclusively Democrats. And then now you have Jill Stein that's running as a Green Party candidate who took like 4 or 5% of the vote away from Hillary Clinton. So things are not looking good for Democrats when it comes to
They're like kicking
President.
themselves in the foot.
oh they're putting their own foot in their mouth with all this. They're more divided than maybe they've ever been. And on our side, we've just got to we got to figure out how to unite behind it looks like the front runner, which is Donald Trump.
I feel like in the past year, the grassroots, like when I started at Turning Point Action, the grassroots were very, very split. And just since I've started back in March, I feel like the grassroots have really come around and they've really been like, Trump's our candidate, Trump's our guy. Even people that before were like, I will never vote for him. They're starting to realize and come around. So I think the party is starting to come together in Arizona more.
They're turning the ship around.
Soon the ship will sail.
Well, this is the right time that's a great transition to make everybody aware of AmericaFest. Do we have the graphics for what dropped? I think it was 2 days ago. The Timcast announcement. Boom! Timcast in real life, live on stage, December 18th. Charlie Kirk, Tim Pool, Tucker Carlson, and a lot of Tim's friends that you're used to. There's a couple more guests that may pop on there. That's going to be, you do not want to miss this. There is going to be no better episode ever shot. We're doing this live at AmericaFest from stage. Charlie, Tim, Tucker, so many more, and it's a lot of fun. And Tucker speaking too. Obviously Charlie's going to speak many times. We have a few other big announcements coming out. I don't know if we want to throw up the who's performing. We have a couple of concerts happening as we always do every year. We got Low Cash, Ray Lynn, who's a great friend to Turning Point, and Big and Rich. So we love Rich. He's incredible. Big and Rich is doing their full performance. It's going to be, I'm told, I'm hearing from Little Bird, they're going to have a really special performance. They may have some special surprises, things that they've never done before. Yeah, which is really cool. And obviously, he's a great conservative. And then we have our whole lineup of speakers from Tucker to People to Roseanne to, we have, so many different guys. Isaac, who's on the Orlando Magic, who's an outspoken conservative. They're killing it right now. We have so many cultural icons that are going to be here. And a couple of big announcements that are coming I think you don't want to miss on Saturday or Sunday. So you want to get your tickets. You want to be here in Arizona. It's so easy to stay anywhere in Phoenix.
It's easy to get around.
Phoenix metro area, it's like 10 minutes either way. Any direction you go, there's 1,000 hotels. So you want to be at AmericaFest here in a few weeks. Get your tickets at AMFEST.com. If you're a precinct committeeman, DM me or DM us at, we're just throwing it up. I guess we'll just throw it up there. That's great. That's great. If you're a precinct committeeman, we're giving you free tickets. You can DM us. Oh, there it is. There it is again. If you're watching live, you can get the code on there. Or you can DM us at Turning Point Action. We will give you free tickets if you're a precinct committeeman, precinct captain. If you're listening, please share that. Share that with others. We would love to have you. You deserve it. You do all the hard work for the movement. And we're just so grateful for all the work that you do. Well, Aubrey, what final words, departing words do you have to say for us here?
Stay cool. Keep America great. And that's all. Thank you for having me. This was really fun.
Really quick. Sorry, guys. I did just want to pull up this photo of Aubrey.
This is the best. This is the best. So this is Aubrey with our immediate past governor, Doug Ducey. So you guys tell the story. So you were where?
So I was at Zip Sports Grill.
So this was after the ASU game,
after
right?
the ASU game versus U of A. And we were just walking around. We first thought that he was working there.
You guys are slamming beers at
Zipperitas.
Zips.
Yeah, we're getting some zipperitas.
Yeah, okay.
Doing our thing, having a great time. We thought he was our server. So we're like, is Doug Ducey working the bar? And then we him sitting down. So Lacey and I was like, I'm going to go take a photo. I'll go say hi to him if nobody else will. So I walked up to him.
Why was the former governor just hanging out at Zips?
That's so embarrassing. No, I literally thought that. I was like, this is kind of embarrassing. I thought you were cooler than this.
No offense. I don't go to Zips. I would never be caught dead at Zips. I'm way too old to be at Zips.
Hey, I love Zips.
Well, you guys are young.
So we can get the zipperitas.
Yeah, but you guys can handle a few zipperitas.
Aubrey, let's go to Zips.
Tomorrow.
This is the reason why you don't go to Zips, because Doug Ducey had a few Zipperitas, and he got
he's looking at me a little funny.
he got obbed.
He did. I walked up to him and I said, Governor Doug Ducey, thank you so much for all the great things you've done for the state of Arizona. I'm so honored to know you. Like, you were the first politician I ever met. And the whole entire time I'm standing there and I'm like, with my middle finger up.
Ouch.
And he was like, thank you so much. Like, I'm so glad. I was like, yeah, I work at Turning Point Action now. And his face was like, oh.
I probably scared
And I was like, can I take a photo? Had my Carrie Lake hat on backwards. It's like, hopefully he sees it all.
Yeah, they screwed us with money from the RGA. The chairman of the RGA hanging out, knocking back Zipperitas.
Yeah, with all his
Zips.
boys.
Who was he with? Was he with his sons at least, I hope?
No, he was with some creepy old men.
He was with creepy old men?
Yes. The other photo, there's a creepy old man checking me out.
Why can't these guys afford a nice bar?
You would think they would go somewhere else, like somewhere better.
I mean, that's like a college bar. That's like
the definition of a college bar. Like that is.
That's like
pure
literally
bar.
like I would feel so embarrassed that those guys are hanging out. Wow.
They were the oldest people in the whole restaurant.
Wow.
But we did think that he was a bartender and serving there, so I think that was the best part of it all.
And then you got him.
And then we got him sitting at the table next to us.
You got him.
Thank you for all the great things you've done for Arizona, Governor.
I don't condone what you did, but I also don't not condone it. So it's I'm not also you're also not in trouble for doing it. So it is what it is. Someone
had to do it.
Free expression. We celebrate free expression here. No, God bless you. It's so funny. Somebody that. So we won't get into this into detail. We're not here to hammer Doug Ducey every week, whatever. He could have done a lot more and could have done it a lot better as a governor, and he could have worked with conservatives, and he could not be drinking Zipperitas every weekend, but I guess that's where he's at.
Surprised he wasn't with his son.
Yeah, I mean, if he's with his kids, I understand. One of his kids got kicked out of Ole Miss or something for too many Zipperitas. But look, here's the deal. Doug Ducey now runs a C4, right? Allegedly, and he pays himself like over $1 million a year out of that C4. That is so wrong. Like nobody shouldn't be doing that. Like, are you kidding me? Like that's insane. Like we wouldn't pay our top executives a fraction of that, and so we don't. Like that's like it's just like a fraction of that. This guy's supposed to be a self-made millionaire, pay himself over $1 million a year. He's drinking Zipperitas.
At least have some class if you're going to be paying yourself
he's a
that
self-made
much.
millionaire, and he's paying himself $1 million from the C4 that does nothing.
And then going and getting some shoestring fries from Zips.
No, here's the tie-in though. So here's the kicker for Aubrey. So a guy who used to work over there now works for us.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, yeah, man, actually, like I'm so happy to be over here. But he liked your picture where something, and he got like they were in his DMs like, how dare you like Aubrey's picture, like so trashy. It's like, guys, come on, you know.
I got some hate comments too. I was like, thank you. I don't care.
I didn't even see it.
Aubrey got some hate DMs, some hate comments.
Yes.
I didn't think you were gonna post it. I was excited.
I was thinking about not posting it. I was like, well, it's the end of November. I have to do my monthly recap.
I was gonna surprise you by throwing it up because it was so funny. So I think it's the one of the group chats, the profile picture now that we made. So well, good. Well, thank you, Aubrey. Happy to have you. You're welcome back anytime.
Thank you.
God bless you for the work that you're doing. Again, if you want to get involved with Turning Point Action, we need you. We need you to think about helping us here in Arizona, helping in Wisconsin, helping in Georgia. We're going to be doing significant work ahead of next year. You can visit Turning Point Action at tpaction.com/get involved. You can go to tpaction.com/coalitions, or just go to coalitions.com to get involved with one of our coalitions. One of our field representatives like Aubrey is standing by, ready to help you get involved with a coalition.
I'm eagerly waiting.
If you're a mom, you're in. If you're a healthcare worker, you're in. If you're a teacher, you're in. If you're Hispanic, you're in.
If you believe in God, you're in.
If you believe in God, you're in. We've got lots of great coalitions to connect you with. We have precincts that have people in them that we need to chase their ballots based around some of the things that they believe and the communities that they live in. In addition to that, we want you to become a precinct leader, get more involved at the local level. You can download the Turning Point Action app by going to the Apple store, the App Store, or you can go to the Google Play Store, download the Turning Point Action application, not the USA application, the Action application. You click on the arrow in the top left-hand corner and input your phone number. You immediately will have access to start knocking doors, making phone calls, talking to voters who are 404 voters today to help get them aware and involved ahead of next election. And then lastly, we want you to help us chase ballots come next year. And so you can start getting involved. You can put in an inquiry today. So we have your name on the list so we can get back in touch with you later this year. It's tpaction.com/chase or /chase the vote. You can just go tpaction.com/chase. You sign up today. We're actually posting, I think it's over 200 jobs in the next few weeks. 200 full-time jobs, not part-time jobs, not $10 an hour jobs. We're talking about full-time jobs. We're paying salaries that are not just livable wages, they're career wages.
Adult jobs, big kid jobs if you're young.
If you're old, if you're a teacher, quit your job and come do this, because you're going to make as much money as you did teaching, probably more money than you did teaching, by helping us chase ballots. You'll make more money than any part-time job that you have. And I promise it'll be a lot more fun because you're just going to be talking to your neighbors and talking to them about, life and just life stuff, not even politics half the time, just getting them ready to vote next year. And so again, if you want to be involved here, go to tpaction.com/chase. We're going to have jobs posting. You're going to be able to see those at tpaction.com/careers. So keep your eyes peeled. Again, this has been another fun week. Looking forward to talking with you soon. Thanks so much. Looking forward. Thanks again for joining Swing State Update. God bless.
Thank you, Tyler. Bye.